Okay, before I start this video, I just want to give a quick warning to you guys that these are my personal opinions and experiences with the game. If you have your own, you can always feel free to share them in the comment section down below. Also, I would like all the fanboys to leave now if they haven't done so already, just because someone is saying something negative about COD, especially since I will be also talking about the positive aspects of the game. Has Call of Duty almost ruined a whole generation of gamers? Hey there boys and girls, like Skillfakey here, and today I'm back with another controversial topic, and I probably can already smell the hate right here, but today I'm going to talk a little bit about John Gibson, who is the president of Tripwire Interactive, and they made the Orchestra series. Well, actually I'm not going to talk about him too much, I'm just going to read out some quotes from him, which he said during an interview with pcgamer. The link to the article will be in the description down below, so you can check it out for yourself. Now I'm just going to read a couple of quotes and I will start commentating afterwards. So you can just use the annotation on the screen right now to skip to the part where I'm just giving my opinion and I'm just reviewing everything that has been said, and yeah, so much for that. I'm really discouraged by the current state of multiplayer shooters. I think that, and I hate to mention names because it sounds like I'm jealous of their success, but I'm really not. I feel like Call of Duty has almost ruined a generation of FPS players. I know that's a bold statement, but I won't just throw stones without backing it up. When I was developing action mode for Red Orchestra 2, I got a group of people that I know are pretty hardcore Call of Duty players, and my goal was to create something that was accessible enough for them to enjoy the game. Not to turn it into Call of Duty, but try to make something that I thought was casual enough, but with the Red Orchestra gameplay style that they would enjoy. And we iterated on it a lot. And just listening to all the niggling, pedantic things that they would complain about that made them not want to play the game, I just thought, I give up. Call of Duty has ruined this whole generation of gamers. One thing Call of Duty does in its smart business to a degree is they compress the skill gap. And the way you compress the skill gap as a designer is you add a whole bunch of randomness. A whole bunch of weaponry that doesn't require any skill to get kills, random spawns, massive cone fire on your weapon, lots of devices that you can get kills with, zero skill at all. And you know, it's kind of smart to compress your skill gap to a degree. You don't want the elite players to destroy the new players so bad that the new players can never get into the game and enjoy it. But the skill gap is so compressed that it's like a slot machine. You might as well just sit down at a slot machine and have a thing that pops up and says, I got a kill. They've taken individual skill out of the equation so much. You see, these guys, I see it all the time, they come in to play Red Orchestra and they're like, this game is just too hardcore. I'm awesome at Call of Duty, so there's something wrong with your game. Because I'm not successful at playing this game, so it must suck. I'm not the problem, it's your game. And sometimes as designers, it is our game. Sometimes we screw up, sometimes we design something that's not accessible enough. They can't figure it out. We didn't give them enough information to figure out where to go. But more often than not, it's because Call of Duty compressed their skill gaps so much that these guys never needed to get good at a shooter. They never needed to get good at their Twitch skills with a mouse. Players like Elliot and I, which is the lead designer by the way, back in Quake and Unreal days, you know, we had to get good at aiming. These guys don't have to anymore. The skill gap is so compressed that like the game makes me feel that I'm awesome. These guys, when I'm actually watch them play, they're actually very poor FPS players. And I don't think it's because they're incapable of getting good. I think it is because they never had to get good. They get enough kills in Call of Duty to feel like they're awesome, but they never really had to develop their FPS skills beyond that. And it's a shame, because when you do that, when you create a shooter like that, you're very limited on the amount of depth you can give them. It's all gotta be very surface level, like I'm sitting here eating cotton candy and I never get any meat and potatoes. And it's frustrating for me as a designer to see players come in and they're literally like, in Call of Duty it takes 0.15 seconds to go into iron sights. In Red Orchestra it takes 0.17 seconds to get into iron sights. I hate this. The game is kind of spoon-feeding them and making them feel great when they're not. And like I said, that's smart business, and I don't want to blame Infinity Ward for wanting to do that. They're selling millions of games and they have lots of people enjoying it, but I think there's a depth of enjoyment there that a lot of these players are missing out on. And when you try to get them to branch out, their knee-jerk reaction is, the training wheels have come off, and I'm gonna fall, and I hate to see that. Oh man, I'm glad that reading is over. I hate reading out loud, but yeah, That's basically some of the main aspects he said in the interview. Again, I will link the article in the description down below. But now let's hop on over to my point of view of the whole situation. And yeah, first of all, I want to say that it really, well, Call of Duty really has changed over the years. If you have been playing since COD 1, just like me, well, I was rather a Call of Duty 2 player. I played first COD 2 and COD 1 afterwards. But you notice how the game changed, and I think Call of Duty 4, the glorious Call of Duty 4, was actually the beginning of the end in this in this scenario, because they introduced the perks and the kill streaks. However, back in COD 4, they still managed to actually balance it out pretty okay. So I never really felt like in COD 4 that I'm having problems with some things. Okay, like okay, Martyrdom was kind of bitchy, but you get what I mean. It still was kind of balanced. It wasn't really bad. It was playable. It was a good game actually. However, when they came out with Modern Warfare 2, they basically changed the game. First of all, no dedicated servers, totally overpowered kill streaks. All weapons were totally overpowered, and again, if all weapons are overpowered, that does not make the game balanced. It doesn't make the game balanced at all. Again, then we had pro perks, which weren't balanced either. And I think Modern Warfare 2 was the first, well, the really big Call of Duty where most people came to the series. And I think this is where it ended, because after Modern Warfare 2, I mean, Modern Warfare 2 was still a fun game, but it was not a skill-based game anymore. It was just a fun game to play. It was very casual, as Dave said, they compressed the skill gap. And every Call of Duty after had the same problem. Again, now, until now I've only talked about Infinity Ward, because until Black Ops 1, Treyarch always was like the hidden studio. They just kind of copy and pasted, and they weren't really good at balancing, but it was okay. Their main game was zombies, which they totally screwed up with Black Ops 2. They absolutely removed the cool zombie feel, fighting off waves with your friends, and now you're playing Minecraft and building airplanes and flying to bridges, and I have no idea why they did that, because zombies was really cool on with the Treyarch games. As another little side note, I want to say that the developer studio, so the actual Infinity Ward guys, they are now Respawn Entertainment. During the life cycle, or I think the development cycle of Modern Warfare 2, the two lead designers or developers were fired, and I think about 80 or 90% of the studio followed them, and they made Respawn Entertainment, which will be coming out with Titanfall soon. So those are actually the makers of the good Call of Duties. Yeah, so I think COD 4 actually was the beginning of the downfall, and Modern Warfare 2 kind of completed it. And the main things they brought in, which actually made it so hard to balance the game out, which would first of all, of course, be the perks. I mean, perks were a nice little idea. They freshened the game up a little. You were able to customize it a little bit more, make it fit your playstyle. And again, in COD 4, where you only had normal perks, it was a lot easier to balance them out. Pro perks, again, whole nother story, whole nother scenario. It just made it so difficult to balance it out, and so for me it feels like they just like gave up on balancing the game, because then again, if they're adding stuff like no skill weapons, random spawns, and totally overpowered kill streaks, I mean, I just can agree with John Gibson, with Mr. Gibson there. It is as it is, and they completely compressed the skill gap. They removed the skill. They removed the skill from an FPS shooter, and yeah, that's from my point of view, that's really bad. Especially since I've played COD like forever, I'm really missing the old Call of Duties. Back then, it really was all about skill. COD 2, you had no perks at all. You just had World War II weapons. I mean, there were more semi-automatics and bolt actions than there were fully autos, and I mean, that's just something you gotta think about it. But yeah, the perks were kind of hard to balance, and I think that's one of the main reasons why the randomness and the imbalance started in Call of Duty. On the other hand, we would have kill streaks. And personally, I absolutely hate kill streaks, so I might ramble a little or rant a little too much on here, but not, yeah. I think kill streaks take no skill. Let's, for example, let's take a camper. A camper sits in a corner and waits for people to come by. Of course, his KD will be positive because he's hiding, he's waiting for the people, he got the jump on them all the time, he's a smaller target, he knows where they're coming from, he's pointing at a doorway, so he gets the kill. Although people will know or remember where he was, and eventually they will not go there anymore, because he just, I don't know, just head glitching and there's almost no way to getting him out of there, so they're not going for the revenge kill, and they're just leaving there, so he might get a positive KD afterwards, maybe 5-1 or something, but he will be last place because all the others were in the action. They had like, even if they got like 9-10, still more kills than he had. So that's another problem, because now since they're camping, with 5 kills they can get a Predator missile, with the Predator missile they can get the Harrier strike, with the Harrier strike they can get the pave low, and all of a sudden they're on top of the scoreboard with 30-3. And this is my hate against or towards kill streaks, because unskilled players are getting rewarded. Same goes for the perks, especially the ghost perk. Skilled players who learn to use not only who not only learn to aim and get better at their Twitch aim and skill, but who also learn to read the minimap periodically in order to keep their situational awareness up. Those people are getting punished. The skilled players are getting punished by people running around with Ghost because they're not showing up on the minimap anymore. I mean, what's that? Again, this is something I cannot understand, and again, it completely confirms the compressed skill gap again. And those are, I think, the overpowered perks and the overpowered kill streaks. They're something that that really screwed up the game at all. I mean, on the other hand, again, the weapons they almost have no recoil at all anymore. It really takes no skill, just point and click and you got a laser, and this is terrible. Again, then the random spawns, and I will talk about the community in a sec, but the lag. The lag has really become bad since they switched to the matchmaking system and don't use dedicated servers anymore. You get so much lag, and just for you guys on the console, I think a 4-bar connection in Call of Duty means that your ping is 100 or better than 100. So up to 100 or 150, your connection will be shown as a full bar, as a full connection. So if you have no idea what I mean, if you're playing on the PC, it's a little bit more obvious. But for example, if I play Battlefield or Counter-Strike or any other shooter from here in Germany to a server in the US, or I don't know, in Japan or something, I get approximately the same ping as a 4-bar connection. Just so you guys know, they really messed up the netcode. COD 4 Pro Mod had probably the best netcode ever, but everything after that really got just screwed over. And again, back to the KD real quick, to the KD huggers. The KD again is another thing that kind of boomed or exploded over the whole FPS genre, and I think the reason for that is again that so many casual players came to Call of Duty, and as a casual player you're not smart enough when it comes to gaming to understand really complex situations where you solved a firefight or a problem with skill or tactics, so you need something that shows you if you're doing good. And I think the KD is probably the easiest way to see that. Okay, I got this many kills, but I died a few not so much, so I think I was doing pretty good. And he doesn't know if he was actually doing good. He's looking at the numbers, but in the end he could just be sitting in a corner doing nothing and just being a terrible player for everyone else. And I think the KD is also one of the really big problems. And yeah, for my last point now, I want to talk a little bit about the Call of Duty community. I think we can all agree that the Call of Duty community has become worse, or has gotten worse and worse, and the game itself is kind of, as Gibson says, spoon-feeding them. So the game is rated 18+, but it's designed for little kids. like, if you've ever played one of the campaigns, literally the rail shooterness is unbelievable. All you have to do is press W to move forward, and that's it. Shoot maybe 1 or 2 times. If you don't press W, you die. And I don't know. It's designed for games. Everything will be like you will be told everything you gotta do. You don't have to figure it out for yourself. You don't have to think. It's just not right. It's not a game. It's kind of a really bad interactive movie. And I think this is not a problem. But back to the community. I'm drifting away again. I mean, drifting off. Yeah. I think we can agree that the Call of Duty community has become worse and worse, and why I told you this a couple of seconds ago is because with all the spoon feeding and the game getting easier, just a lot more kids came to the game, and since it was just so easy to pick up, and even little kids can be good at the game, and if you hear all the squeakers and stuff, I mean, you know what I mean. And the really bad part about that is that, as Gibson said, they think that they're actually good FPS players just because they had a good game in Call of Duty or can get a kill in Call of Duty. But really, as he said, they compress the skill gap so much that it doesn't take skill anymore, and everyone can get a good game or a kill. And right here I wanna mention Woody's gamertag real quick, because he told a story where he was at I think at some competition where he just competed in a tournament in Call of Duty against each other, and there was this little boy, I think he was, well, he wasn't little anymore, he was like 15 or something, but there were also younger kids like 12 and if you're that young, you shouldn't be playing such a game, but that's a whole other topic. And yeah, that guy thought he would be the best Call of Duty player in the world, at least that's what his friend said. He was kind of like, yeah, well, not the best, but definitely one of the best. And well, I think, if I recall right, he turned out to be last, and he was terribly worse. And this is where the Call of Duty syndrome or the COD syndrome comes into place. Because by compressing the skill gap once again, they take skill out of the equation, and everyone you can be the shittiest player alive, you will still think that you're kind of good at Call of Duty. And then again, I mean, this guy, or not only this guy, because I've met many people who thought they would be so good in the game, and they actually have no idea like what it's actually like to be good or what they have to do to get good. I mean, again, it's kind of hard to describe it. But yeah, I think those were the negative aspects of Call of Duty, and also the stuff I would agree on with him. Yeah, I think he had some valid points. I think he was partly right. But now I want to talk a little bit more about the stuff I disagree on. And I think he, with his actual main thesis that COD has almost ruined a whole generation of gamers, this is actually the main aspect of where he was wrong. Again, I think many of his points were really valid, and they were actually really good. But his main thesis, I think, is wrong. I don't think that Call of Duty has ruined a whole generation of gamers. I think he was leaning a little bit too far out of the window. I think COD just has chosen a different path in its life cycle again, mainly because probably Respawn Entertainment, so the old Infinity Ward guys, aren't there anymore. I mean, you definitely notice it with the Infinity Ward games. Reocn actually now has become the better Call of Duty studio. I mean, Black Ops 2 was by far the most quote skill-based game compared to the last couple of ones, but still, they've chosen a different direction. And COD is not about the skill anymore. It became casual, it became more appealing for the main audience. And right here I want to use newbies, so new players, as an example, for his thesis of COD has ruined a whole generation of gamers. Because I don't think it's true. And again, I don't want to say that if you're playing Call of Duty you're a noob, but I just want to use it to compare, to make it a little bit more easier to understand. If you're a new player, yes, you're bad in the beginning, but you will get good eventually. And since COD has chosen this casual gameplay part, and they took, like he said, skill out of the equation, it made it a fun shooter, and it's like the start for many people. It's their first FPS, and if they want to get another game, skill-based game, they will move on eventually. And I don't want to say that skilled people don't play Call of Duty, because it's just that Call of Duty isn't skill-based anymore. It became a fun shooter. It's hard. It's really hard to kind of get this right, because there's so many different opinions, and I just want to clear it out. But if we go back a little again, I think COD 4 was the last skill-based shooter. Modern Warfare 2 was kind of the go in between, but afterwards Call of Duty only has become a fun shooter. So it's not about who's better, I'm better than you. It's about that everyone gets a fair chance, and well, fair chance is not the right word because they compressed the skill gap, but that no one, yeah, by the fact that no one has to get good, they can start enjoying the game from the get-go, especially if they're. It's a really casual game. I think that's just what I want to say, and it's really hard to get this right. But yeah, COD has become a fun game, not a skill-based game anymore. And again, if you're a good player, you will probably be better than other players if you play Call of Duty, but yet again, you won't be as good as you think you might be, and the other ones, the actually new or bad players, will be better than they actually think they are. And yeah, I think that's something where all the problems came from, as I've just said a couple of minutes ago with the COD syndrome, where bad players actually think that they're really good players. I think I don't have anything against if new players don't get bashed, like right from the get-go, and they can have a fun time, as long as they don't think that they're the best players in the world. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But yeah, COD has become a fun shooter. It's kind of that mindless shooter where you just hop on, play like half an hour, you run around, just spray and pray down everything you can see, and yeah, that's just what it has become. And again, I think that's a positive. I think you could call it a positive aspect. Again, I'm probably a little bit worse because I've played all the Call of Duties, and I'm not. I think the majority started with Call of Duty 6 Modern Warfare 2. So this is, I think, where the crowd is going to be split in half, because there are the guys who played the old Call of Duties, there are the guys who play the new Call of Duties, and the guys who play the new Call of Duties, I don't know how to describe it. Well, it's not skill-based anymore, and since they played the old Call of Duties, the guys from the old Call of Duties know what the skill-based things are, and the new players of the new Call of Duties, they don't know that. They are really likely to get caught up in the COD syndrome, but I think that's just how it is. Like I've said, COD has chosen a different path. They now going for the casual, the main audience. They just want to make a big thing, and they want to make lots of money. But yeah, that's just how it is. It's not a skill-based game anymore. The crowd is kind of split into two audiences, the old guys and the new guys, and I don't meant to say that. I mean, there's so many different people, and I don't want to just put you in a drawer and say, yes, if you're an old guy, you're not allowed to play the new ones, or just the other way around. You can have fun with both, but that's just how it is. Call of Duty is not a skill-based game anymore. Right now it's just the fun game where you can hop on, have a good time with friends, and again, if you're a good player, you will be good, but you should expect to go in there. And I mean, with a whole lot of randomness, again, it's a factor which especially skill players or better players, or just after a longer time of playing, can make you rage a lot more, because you die for stuff you didn't deserve. But then yet again, a newer player who will get the kill actually will feel better. So I think it's a good start if you have never played a game before, and well, partly not a complete good start. It also depends on how you are, especially for younger kids. If you're already older, you're probably looking a little bit more into something that gives you or provides you a little bit more of a challenge. But yet again, maybe you're just a casual player. Maybe you like to hop on only for 30 minutes and spray and pray some stuff down, get your kill streaks and stuff. And maybe that's just the thing for you. For me, sadly it's not anymore. As I've said before, until COD 4 I was happy with the Call of Duty series. After that, I still like to hop on with friends and maybe do some trolling or just do some stupid stuff, but it's not about being good, it's not about skill, it's just about doing stupid stuff. Yeah, that's mainly about it. And yeah, I would say this pretty much wraps up everything I have to say about Call of Duty in this commentary. Again, it's kind of a controversial topic, so first of all, I would really appreciate if you guys could leave me some feedback in the comment section down below. Maybe just rate the video if you enjoyed the commentary or not. I know that, I want to say it again, you don't have to be a necessarily bad player if you play Call of Duty. Neither it has to be the other way around. People are different, and people are playing for different reasons. Maybe you're a hardcore gamer, maybe you're just a casual player, and that's just what it actually comes down to. So again, I don't want anyone to be offended, but if you have similar experiences, I would also like you to share them in the comment section down below. But yeah, I think it's pretty much all for now, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and like Skillfaker out.